Good morning, everyone. I am here today to share with you the um, Amazing Life bundle. It comes with the stitched rectangular framelits, and this is just a few of them. I have some already pulled out for making today's card. And then it also comes with the Amazing Life stamp set, and these are just some absolutely gorgeous sayings on here that make just beautiful cards all on their own. Great for some simple stamping or something a little bit more complicated. So today I'm really going to focus on using the rectangular stitch dies because they are so versatile. They make creating backgrounds so quick and easy. Instead of having to get all the perfect measurements, these are already done for you. And what I love is that each of these has the stitching on the inside and the outside. So whether you're trying to create a frame or create a rectangular piece of paper with that nice stitching on it, these will do the job. So you can see here, there's you've got the stitching, and then there's a solid line, and that actually cuts, and then the stitching again. And so really, really cool for creating all sorts of shapes. So let's get right into it. I'm going to just go grab my Big Shot and pull it over. All right, so I'm going to put my Big Shot on here so that you can see the whole thing. And what I've got is my magnetic plate, two of my clear boards, and I'm going to grab just a piece of cardstock. This one I've actually cut at 4 by 5 1/4, and the reason for that is because it will actually make a really nice front on a card for some other project. For this particular project, I am going to be using the inside pieces. So I want to line my dies up so that they do create a really nice frame. So I'm going to have a really nice piece of cardstock here with stitching on it that I'm going to use on some other project. And then I'll also have the piece that I am looking to create. So I'm actually, as you can see, using 2 of the framelits. And the reason I'm doing that is because I'm actually trying to create a stitched border, like stitched on both sides. So here we go. I've got that all lined up, and I'm going to run it through my Big Shot. Oh, I almost made this mistake again. So when you run these through, you actually want to make sure to angle your dies just a little bit so that you're kind of leading with the corner as you put it through. I've made this mistake a few times, and it's very hard to run something through the Big Shot when you're hitting a large flat edge. You can do it, but it makes a giant cracking noise and it's hard to turn. So I found that if you just turn these rectangular dies just on their side a little bit so that you're leading with a corner. There we go. Hard to work on this surface. I've got papers underneath, it's making it slip. Awesome. So now that we've run that through, I'll pull this away and I'll show you what we got from running our dies through in this manner. So I have a piece here that I'm not going to use on this card, but you can see it's got that nice stitching edge, and so that's going to make a beautiful card front. So I'll set that to the side for another project. I also have, I'll take that one off. I guess that one wants to come off. Oh, there we go. I have this inner piece that I'm also going to save for another project. And so I've got that. And so again, that has that nice stitching on the edging. So that'll be really beautiful to stamp on. And then the piece that I was actually trying to create today is what I have left here, which is this beautiful little frame that's got the stitching on the inside and the outside. So we're going to use that on a card today. I can set these off to the side now because we won't be using those again. And I'll put this off to the side for a moment. All right, so now we're going to do some stamping. So I've got just another piece of Whisper White cardstock, and this piece is just a scrap that I had from another project. I just double checked that it is large enough to fit the framelit that I'm going to want to use though. So it is, so I want to be stamping somewhere in the middle. I'm going to actually line this up on my grid paper so that I can stamp really nice and straight when I do this. I'll grab some Memento ink, and I'm going to start by stamping our little birthday cake. And so I want that pretty much centered. There we go. There's my birthday cake. And then I've got the saying, life's too short to say no to cake. I'm going to ink that up in Memento as well. And I'm going to stamp it very close to my cake so that this will all fit inside that die. Now, some people I know like to cut the shape first and then try and stamp in the space. That way you make sure that you actually will stay within the space. I'm not too concerned. If this doesn't fit inside the die I've chosen, I'll just take the next size up and we'll go from there. So, but let's just double check that. There we go. That's going to fit perfectly inside there. So let's bring the Big Shot back. And again, we're going to try and remember to line our die up so that it is creating kind of an angle, so that we're hitting the corner of our die first. So here, make sure that's nicely centered. And now with that on an angle, I'm ready to go. All right, and so with that angle happening, we didn't get that big loud crack that we can sometimes get when we're using our Big Shot. So that is really nice. It's much gentler on your dies, gentler on your machine as well. There we go. And so I've got that beautiful piece now with all of the stitching. And then this piece I'm actually not going to get rid of because I can take the next size up die and actually create another nice little frame like we did at the beginning of this video. And so that piece is going to be very usable as well. So I'll hold on to that and put that to the side. There we go. All right. So now this piece I am going to color, and I'm actually going to color it using my blends. I'll grab some yellow there as well. And I'm going to use the dark Calypso Coral and begin at the bottom of my words. And I'm not being too worried. Went out of the lines a little bit there. That's okay. I do try and stay kind of inside the lettering when I'm using these blends because they can, if you use them a lot, they can bleed and go outside of the lines. But today, for this bottom part, what I'm coloring is the only color that's going to be down there. It's the top that's going to get a bit more. So I'm going to switch over now to using the lighter Calypso Coral. And starting down in my dark, I'm going to start dragging that color up and blending that together. Oops, wow, I'm really going out the lines on this one. Okay. And really blend that in. Maybe I should be switching to a finer tip. Oh, I see that somebody's joined me online just in time to see my not so hot coloring skills here, but I'm giving it a go. I've never been a big fan of coloring, but I do find that the blends have made me really enjoy coloring a lot more. Good morning, Valerie. So here we go. Just finish up that. And so it just creates this nice blended look. I might redo that one actually because that is some pretty bad coloring. Wow. Oh, I know. Here we go. This is called the Color Lifter. So I'm actually going to bring the Color Lifter in. Oh, that just splattered everywhere. Wow. I'm just going to bring the Color Lifter in here to rescue the day and just do a little bit of color removal there. See if that will help at all. A little bit. Not a lot. All right. Well, that's what Stampin's all about. It's live and learn and try new things, and it's only paper. So that Color Lifter saved the day pretty well. Awesome. Okay, I'm happy with that now. So now we're going to move on to coloring our cake. And on my cake, I'm going to do the same kind of layered look. So my bottom piece of cake, I'm actually just really going to color in almost the whole thing. This one I'm going to do just a little bit, and this one even less. Oh, and I'm going to color in my candle. There we go. Do the tip of my candle, the flame there, and some yellow. This one is the Dark Daffodil Delight. Now I'm going to take this lighter blender pen. Thanks, Val. And I'm going to blend this together. So this one I'm really going to do a lot of blending and have this bottom layer be quite dark. Okay, this one, again, quite dark, but concentrating my blending more in the middle so that the top of this layer is quite a bit lighter. And then this one, I'm actually going to try and keep most of it extremely light and just do the blending down at the edge where the two meet. There we go. Oh, and I've got a bit of bleeding again on that one. I'm just using a lot of it, doing a lot of coloring, and so it's coming out. Oh, it's coming out the edges again. So I'm just going to grab this color lifter and try and pick some of that up again. There we go. That's better. All right. So these do take a little bit of time to learn and practice using, and I'm still working on that piece, but you know, I do love how they make it so much easier to color. I don't have the lines like I get when I color with felt pens, because that's just really not my strong suit. So now I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to glue it onto a piece of Calypso Coral so it all matches up with the coloring that I did. I know. Now, I have seen people say with the bleeding, if you just don't color towards the edges, then when they bleed, it'll fill in the space. But then I'm always disappointed when it doesn't bleed fully and doesn't fill in the space and there's that little bit of white. So, not really sure. You know, I guess it's just a lot of practice to find that happy medium. And so, just keep making more and more of these, and someday I'll get it. All right, so now I've got that. I'm going to grab a piece of Balmy Blue, and there's this fun little, like 3 little dots that's part of this stamp set. So I'm going to grab some Balmy Blue as well. So the 2, and I'm just going to do a lot of random stamping and kind of keeping it around the edging of my card. So, oh, don't do a stamp off. There we go. Just kind of creating a border. I don't need to do the center because I'm going to be covering it up with this piece. So I'm really just looking to get a nice little border around this. And so just a little tap, tap, back and forth, and twist the block around a bit if you want to get different angles going. And a little bit repetitive, but it's going to create a really nice little border for us. All right, sorry about my sniffling here. I'm coming down with some kind of cold or something. Seems like it's been going around both my classroom and here at home. So there we go. All right, we're almost done. So while I'm working on this, I'll tell you a bit more about this particular bundle. You can buy the rectangular dies separately from the Amazing Life stamp set, or to save 10%, you can buy them together as a bundle. And today, if you go online and order this bundle from me, it actually has a value that qualifies you for Celebration. So you'll get a free Celebration set when you order this bundle. And it also qualifies you, if you go online and use my hostess code, qualifies you to get a free blender pen like the ones that I've just been using. So, you know, really I've only used 3 colors here, yellow and the 2 shades of Calypso Coral. So you'd be 1/3 of the way there to having a set to color in this whole thing. And I mean, realistically, you could use 1 color and color in the whole thing, and you know, grab a felt pen to do that flame tip. So really nice to be able to color those big shapes in smoothly without the lines. So that's just kind of a special that I've got going on today. So you can go online. I'll post my hostess code later on. As soon as this video is done, I'll go on and add that into the comment bank. So there we go. We've got our border done. So I can put away my balmy blue now. And we can, actually I'm not going to glue that one on yet. I'm actually going to take our frame and use my two-way glue. This way, if I don't quite line up my frame and my piece of blue, I can still make it look straight, because I'm taking my frame and putting some two-way glue just in the center here between the stitching. I like the two-way glue because it's got that angled tip, so I can get it angled so that just it's going between the stitching and not getting glue everywhere. And now that that's done, I'm going to take my piece of blue and I'm actually going to turn it upside down and line it up on here. And there we go. Glue that down. So that's actually pretty straight. Hey, Janice! All right, so with that down, I'm going to grab some glue and finally put this piece in. This way I can actually line this up inside my border and have it all look nice and straight. So when I'm using this liquid glue, I actually don't need too much, and I love that I can kind of drag it around with that flat tip. So there, I've got that. This also allows me to kind of wiggle it around when I'm placing it, so I don't have to get it exactly straight right off the bat. Awesome. So that's done. I'm going to flip this over and put some dimensionals on the back of this. And I've got them right here. And I'm going to put one in each corner and one in the center, because this is kind of a larger shape, and so that'll just keep the lift in the center of this shape as well. Oh, don't want to peel those off yet though. I don't have our background created yet. So I'm taking a piece of crumb cake and I've cut it not in my usual dimensions. So this card is 5.5 wide, so I did cut this at 5 1/4, which would be my usual usual dimensions, but then top and bottom, this is 4 1/4 when I fold this card. I would normally cut this at 4, but the embossing folder that I'm going to use is actually going to scrunch this up a lot. So instead of cutting this at 4, I cut it at 4 1/8. So just halfway between the 1/4 and 4 marking on your cutter. So that's actually 4 1/8, and I'm going to run it through the Big Shot using one of our really cool embossing folders. This one is one of the, oh, what do they call them now? Dynamic ones. So you actually don't need 2 plates with it. You can see that one side is extra, extra thick. So when we put our paper in here, we actually place that in there. And then we only need 1 plate to make this one work. 2 plates actually won't run through your Big Shot. Oops. Make sure you line it up. There we go. I'm glad you could join, Janice. And yeah, I think I'm going to start doing these a little bit later. Just makes for a less rushed morning for me with the kids, especially since Matthew's high school these days is having these late starts so that the teachers can collaborate. So he doesn't actually start till 9:20 now, and makes it a bit harder for me to get online with everybody running around here in the mornings. So now you can see that I've got a nice border on that one now that I've done that. So yeah, just not cutting it quite as much when you get started. So because this is so textured, and like if you look at that, it really is like corrugated cardboard now. It's really hard to get an adhesive that's going to stick that down and hold it down. So I like to use the Terran tape. I find it's got a really strong hold. And you can be very sparing with this or use a ton. I kind of like to build cards to last. There's nothing more disappointing to me than I make a bunch of cards and, you know, maybe it's 2 or 3 months before I get to give them out to somebody and, you know, my adhesive isn't holding. So I build them to last. So I'm going to use a ton here, and that's okay. This is a great time to stock up on supplies like this as well. I actually just put in an order last week that was all adhesives and earned a celebration item for it. So that was kind of nice. So if you're running low on snail, tear and tape, glue, dimensionals, you know, things that you know you're going to use anyways in the future, might as well stock up on them now and get some rewards for it instead of buying them piecemeal and getting nothing out of it other than a bit of glue. All right, so finish peeling this off. Oh, there we go. So the only thing with these is because it is all corrugated and stuff, you have to make sure that it's actually touching the paper so that you're going to be able to peel these off nicely. All right, now this one I do have to be more careful with lining up because once it's stuck, it's done. All right, there. And I love that because with the tear and tape, my corners are firmly down. I don't have anything kind of rolling up at the edges. And that is ready to go. So now that I've got that on, now I can peel off these backings on these dimensionals that I put here. And stick this onto the front of my card. There we go. All right, and now my last step on this card is going to be just to add a little bit of bling here. That's right, Janice, I got rid of my crimper. The folder takes up a lot less space than a crimper as well, and I always get it straight. So really, really nice. So now I'm going to grab, these are the little candle embellishments. I absolutely love these. In the little box you get little gold ones and little silver ones. And so I'm going to use 2 little gold candles on my card today. And these are little metal embellishments, and they actually already have the adhesive on the back, which is so wonderful. So there we go. You just do that and stick it down where you want it. Okay, and that one comes off there. And put that one up just a little bit higher. Okay. And that is our card for today. So that's the Amazing Life bundle that comes with the Amazing Life stamp set and the rectangular dies. And I mean, you just get so many of them in this kit. I'll just pull these pieces out of the way. So you get so many of them in here. It's fabulous. And I've just put mine onto some magnet sheets. I find it's just a little bit easier for me to keep them organized and see what's what and keep the shapes so that I am able to see which ones kind of coordinate and see also if I've got one missing. So there we go. So that's the complete set of rectangular dies. So few different shapes, and yeah, and thanks for liking the color combo there, Janice. I was trying to create something that could be either masculine or feminine, so I love the blue and orange combo. It's Balmy Blue and Calypso Coral. So that's the video today. If you'd like to go online and order this, this does qualify for a celebration set again, like I said, and my special this month is a free blender pen as well with orders over $60. So have a great day, and see you next Wednesday. Bye.